Ira Epstein with your Morning Flash Update, and this update is for Tuesday, Reversal Tuesday, I want to call that, March 14, 2023. You know, yesterday I made a statement to you, when you get a big move on a Monday, you look for Tuesday reversals in financials. Something that I pointed out happens if you've read the Trader's Almanac, you learn things like that. Does everything work all the time? Of course not, but there are things you sort of hang your hat on looking for it. And you're getting that today. You're up in the stock market nicely. You're giving back some of the gains you made yesterday in the metals. The dollar's up at the expense of a number of the currencies. Not a surprise there. Energy markets still declining, however. And they're going to continue to decline, I think, for a bit here, in part because inflation hasn't gone away. Now, what do I mean by that? It's probably a good time for us to come right to it. The CPI index, the headline. The headline, you're going to say, hey, month over month, the market's up 0.4. The market expected up 0.5, and the prior was 0.5. That's good. The Fed can back off now or just decide that it sits. Let me keep going. Food and energy, month over month, up 0.5. They expected up 0.4. So that's when you put that back in, or ex-food and energy, where you can see what's going on. Nah, because energy was down, it weighed on that. So when I look at all this and I'm trying to figure out what's going to happen, I go to year over year, 5.5, they expected it. The Fed can now decide, hey, today's what, the 14th, so they have 8 days to make a decision. How much does the market settle down? What's the banking crisis look like? If there were no banking crisis, I think they'd be going 25 basis points. With the banking crisis, depending on where it's at, they can afford to say, all right, we see some trajectory in the headlines coming down. What they won't say, and what I am saying, is you are not seeing that in rent. In my full report, I've already put that in. I'm showing that we keep hearing rents coming down. I told you it was going to be sticky. The way it works, it's got to be sticky, and it is. If anything, it actually went up a little bit in February. So that's going to be a problem, and it comprises a large amount. Shelter's a big percentage of the CPI number. So without that grabbing traction to the downside, it's an argument. But the Fed broke the system by raising all these rates. The banks did a terrible job of managing their portfolio, absolutely terrible. All they had to do is hedge. That's what hedges are for. You're not supposed to make money on hedges, by the way. What hedges do is they get you into an area where you don't have more risk. I realize that people like to gamble with their hedges, but in this case, they saw that the Fed was on a trajectory up on interest rates, and as that trajectory was carrying up, why didn't they do some hedges, realizing that the values of everything that they've pledged to get that interest, the face value is falling? They could have done certain hedges in the futures markets, locked this up, and I think that when they look back at it, they'll say to themselves, there were ways we could have protected it. The people responsible for that are hopefully out of this. They'll probably get hired at another bank at some point in time, and maybe they learned a lesson, maybe they didn't. But that's what hedging's all about. I used to have people that I would teach hedging to in different products, and they go, but Ira, I'm losing. I go, actually, you're not. You're making it on the cash side. They go, but yeah, but my account with you, I'm not making any money. And I go, that's what a hedge is. Which side of the ledger do you want to make it on, and what are we protecting you? You know what you got at that point in time. A really perfect hedge does that. It locks it in. They want it where you make the money in the cash, you make the money on your hedge, and you make it all over. I wish it were that simple. It isn't. Sort of flat in some of these markets. Bonds and notes, interest rates climbing back just a little bit. So I'm going to repeat again. This gives the Fed the door if it wants it, but the right thing to do, just based on the numbers, not the banking situation, would be to go to the quarter point. Now we'll see over the next 8 days what they want to do. You want to watch the CME Fed Watch page. Now, another thing you also have to do, take a look at where these Bollinger Bands have been going. You're getting extreme moves. The market's going to them, and it's turning on them. You don't believe me? Open up your own chart, put on the Bollinger Band, take a look. Want to learn how to work with that? Well, I've got a course for you. Take a look at this. Get educated. I'm Ira Epstein. I'll see you at the end of the day. Welcome. I'm Ira Epstein, and I'm here to talk about my enhanced Bollinger Band course. Now, many of you have taken my regular charting course, and if not, you might think you know something about Bollinger Bands. As you know, Bollinger Bands are an algorithm designed to keep the market trading within it 95% of the time, and on a chart, it will offer on the top part resistance, on the bottom support, and the idea is the market will travel within them. We know that sometimes it latches onto that band, goes up or goes down. Well, how do you play with that? Can you pyramid the positions off that type of thinking? Well, I've applied all three of these into 13 different videos that teach you my concept of it. And from that concept, you're able to work with weekly charts and or daily charts. The 13 videos, each about 7 minutes long. The idea here is not to put you in school forever, but to teach. Now, if you haven't tried my complete futures research, I throw that in as well. Whether you've tried this or not, I think it's worth taking a look at. I think you're going to learn something from there. That research, by the way, covers twice daily market updates for you and access to what I call window envelope numbers, which I think are very important when looking at these Bollinger Bands. The next part is a trial to our charting software so you can make your charts look the same way that mine do. It's that simple. Where do you go with it and how do you get all this? It's simple. You go to our website, www.iraepstein.com. If you go to the word education, everything you need is answered there. You can also call my staff. They'll be happy to help you get set up. I'm Ira Epstein, on the road to your education.